Hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the OneHubRacing YouTube channel. It is the turn of the Precision tier to take centre stage for round 2 of Season 17 here around the Bahrain International Circuit here in Sakhir. My name is Jake. Unfortunately, my regular co-commentator Sam cannot be here today, but I'm lucky enough to be joined by Jess. How are you doing this evening?
Well, I'm doing fine, thank you much, Jake. Bahrain always brings some interesting battles, to say the least, especially in real life. We were lucky to have two Bahrain Grand Prix, one the full layout and one at the outer layout as well. And if the last two tiers are anything to go by, I'm looking forward to seeing what the 19 drivers we have here tonight has in store.
Absolutely, and before we get stuck into tonight's action, I'm just going to have a quick look back at the season opener last week. In Austria, the stewards' results actually had quite the impact on the final results. It was actually Quace who took the win, who only finished second initially after Tom Robbo picked up a 5-second penalty for pressing go to race before the tier coordinator did. Hopefully that won't be a mistake that gets repeated. There was also a 5-second penalty for Jules for a collision with Tom. That promoted Scorpion Hunt to third, Jay Fletcher to fourth, with Jules dropping to fifth. Of course, Tom would be disappointed to lose the race due to that penalty. But would you see it as a positive in a way that he's done that in the first race rather than later on in the season?
Yeah, definitely, especially when it's the championship. That is going to hot up quite a lot, especially with these drivers. And Tom being one of the newcomers, I mean, he's definitely set a benchmark for all the other drivers to try and match out. One of the other drivers actually last season that had a really good debut was actually Gus Free, who actually won the prospect here as well. So if Tom could keep up the pace tonight, he's probably learned from his mistakes. Hopefully he does not ready up by that particular time, and then he should be absolutely fine. But yeah, it's not a problem since the start, and he's been looking good in practice, so fingers crossed that he should be doing a good job tonight, as with all the drivers.
Yeah, and there's not too many excuses for these drivers not knowing this track too well. Of course, it was a venue for qualifying night. This track covers 3.36 miles. We've got 15 turns, 6 to the left and 9 to the right. And the lap record set, and I love this, it's really not a stat I would expect to see, but it's actually the lap record set by Pedro de la Rosa back in 2005 on a 131.4. A venue that for me has really come alive since its transition to a nighttime race. Of course, we can't forget the 2014 unforgettable battle between Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg here. And we should expect to see plenty of drama in the Precision Tier 2. What do you think it is about this track that produces such exciting racing?
I think mainly due to the fact that it's obviously a night race, and the twilight race always brings some exciting stuff as well. And obviously we've got the heavy braking zone of turn 10 and 11, which people find difficult. And I think it's mainly due to the exciting turn 4 as well, where we've seen, I think, a lot of battles in the past. I think that's where we're probably going to see the most overtakes tonight. Maybe usually after the second DRS as well, but it's probably even harder to overtake, so I think mainly we'll probably see a lot going through turn 4, but I think since a lot of people had a lot of practice sheets for quali night, and since a lot of people like this track anyway, that's probably why I think the times are going to be closer tonight and some much closer racing, but it's going to be down to the drivers to see what they can do.
Yeah, definitely. It was super close as well last time out at Austria, and already we're seeing it early on in the times. We've got Jules, who's currently gone quickest, less than a tenth of ahead of the aforementioned Tom Robbo, with Jay Fletcher, who actually got pole position last week, slotting into third place. And in terms of a pole position lap time round here, are you expecting CP drivers in the 124s perhaps?
Potentially, yes. Obviously, qualifying night practice, you'll be using overtake quite a lot in practice, obviously qualifying night, whereas in the actual qualifying in the actual position tier and all the other tiers tonight, then they won't be using overtake as much, they'll just be using hot lap. And I've seen in most tiers tonight a lot of people going faster than their qualifying night time, so that just goes to show they've really put in the practice. Chris has gone fastest with a 125 too, so I've seen, I think, a lot of people will be beating it, but don't forget there's some people that have not raced in qualifying night. They were brought into the league last minute, so there's no really good comparison to see how they would have done in qualifying night, but for the ones that they have done qualifying night, it should be interesting to see. And they've got the means to hand as well, and some people outside the top 10 may want to have the free tyre choice anyway and want to start outside the top 10, but a lot of people would want to go on the soft early on, I think, because they've got free runs. Not a lot of work to do, but with 12 minutes to go, anything could happen.
Yeah, and with the two-stop rule, of course, at OneHub, it gives you a lot more freedom, I think, to start on soft tyres that you maybe wouldn't have if it was just going to be a simple one-stop race. So that's something for the drivers to bear in mind as well, as we've got Jonas about to do his first lap time of qualifying, and this pops him up into 9th place, into the high 25s. A decent first effort for him. He scored some points last time out, so hoping to build on that. And one interesting thing I certainly found when I was looking at some of the media day stuff yesterday was that Tom Robert was actually mentioning that he's sort of transitioning to using no traction control, and he's finding confidence with that all the time. And that's something, if I was a rival of his, that would already strike a lot of fear into me, because once you master that, you can really gain significant amounts of time.
Well, traction control out of all the assists is probably one of the easiest to turn off, as well as obviously automatic gears as well. That's one of the first people to turn off. But I would say I can understand why Tom would want to turn traction off very, very quickly, because you gain so much time from having traction control off than actually having on medium and full. I think you gain about a second or two. So it does definitely make a difference for Tom having no traction already. And if he gets confident early on, then yeah, I definitely could see him being a championship contender. He's first started at the moment, but I would say ABS would be potentially the hardest to stick to turn off. I can't even turn it off myself. So yeah, I think not many people are going to have it off, mainly because, like we did in qualifying night, ABS is definitely powerful around this track.
Yeah, a lot of big, heavy braking points around this track, which what makes it so keen to promote overtaking. We've got Schnitzel currently out on a lap. I believe he's one of maybe the only driver who's out on a lap at the moment. You probably won't see many drivers going for 2 hot laps on these soft tyres. They don't tend to last very long around this track. Schnitzel got 12th place last time out. Gets a point thanks to the new point system at OneHub this season. And it really does reward drivers, I think, because maybe like if only the top 10 had got points, as if it stayed as last season, then you maybe sometimes might be considering retiring from a race if it's not going very well. But having the top 12 score points, I really think it gives you that momentum to keep going, because you just never know, and anything could happen, and you might yet squeeze into the top 12, which would be enough to score some points. So you never know where that will take you come the end of the season.
I benefited from that last week because I was near the points in Austria, but then obviously due to penalties I managed to get my first point. If it wasn't due to the post-point system 1 to 12, I probably wouldn't have got any. So I think it definitely will probably encourage more drivers to not give up as well, and they will just want to carry on racing and probably less retirement. And also, because obviously the going gets tougher, or as provided by Next Level Racing as well, which a lot of the drivers outside of top 3 would definitely want to win a wheel stand, and just encourages people to do their media day stuff and obviously keep going when the going gets tough. Basically, that's what's in the name as well. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see. Not many people in the position actually were in the running last season, but hopefully we'll see quite more drivers from this tier actually be in the running to actually win that by the end of round 10.
Yeah, and luckily here at OneHub we're privileged to have lots of brilliant sponsors. We've also got Liam13, one of our drivers, who is sponsoring the trophies once again this year. And if you do want to check him out on Twitch, you can do so. It's twitch.tv/LiamRBS. It's well worth a look. I believe he streams his OneHub races, so it's if you want to check out his onboard, you can do so.
Yep, twitch.tv/LiamRBS. He's actually racing right now in the podium still. So, you know, hopefully he's doing well there, and check him out. And yeah, if you want to see what it's like, then join our rating list as well. If you think that you're liking the look of racing up on our race, because you never know, you could be asked to step in if anyone dropped out at the moment. No time's improving at the moment, but quite a lot of invalidations. I've noticed that when I was racing in Prospect here earlier on tonight, that I think a lot of people could get caught out in turn 1 and potentially the final corner as well. It's just so easy to invalidate, and we did see people in real life get caught out by the track limits as well, as the stewards were very, very harsh on that in real life, I've got to say, as far as I remember. So hopefully the stewards will be a little more lenient this time around, but seeing what the other tiers were like, probably not.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one, as we've got Rimpey's actually gone quickest now on a 1:25.1. A little bit of a surprise, I have to say, as Jules is about to complete a lap and he remains in third, doesn't actually improve. But yeah, Rimpey had a bit of a disaster last week in Austria. He got wing damage early on and never really recovered from that. So that's a massive confidence booster for him, getting that early lap in. And we've got Jay Fletcher as well in the Mercedes coming around the far corner. He looks like he's on a better lap than before. So he was 5th and he moves up to provisional pole position on a 25.0. So Rimpe did not have pole position for very long at all.
No, he did not. Jay Fletcher, don't forget, actually got pole last week. He couldn't convert it to a win, of course. But yeah, he's looking very strong in qualifying, but it's going to be a different thing when it comes to the race. I think he needs to work on his race pace a little bit more. But you can see the Mercedes drivers are definitely working together as Jay Fletcher has just given Nick the toe. So it's nice that they get on well. Both returning drivers from a few seasons ago, actually. Nick being the lead owner actually of OneHub, still giving it a go. Nick was also the one to benefit from the lower point system, getting some points last week as well. So he's down in 12th for the moment, but with the times from first to around about 13th place separated by a second, even a small mistake will just put you lower down the grid if no one just comes across the line, and he comes across the line in P10.
Yeah, it's a good confidence boost for Knowles. He got a good result last week. I believe it was 6th place he took. Might be 5th. I just remember he serves me correctly. But he had a bit of a troublesome time in the Pinnacle tier last season. Didn't really find himself up to speed. Now in the Precision tier, he looks very much more at home here. And he could be a little bit of a dark horse here, because I think the more confidence he gets, the better he'll become. It's difficult when you have such a poor run of results in the Pinnacle tier. But now's a chance for him to regain his confidence, and I fancy that he could have a very good season ahead, although I do often put the curse on things like that, so I apologise if your season goes wrong, Knowlesy.
Yeah, I think I'm the victim of commentators' curse when I'm driving and when I jinx people when I race. Again, I do apologise if I end up doing that, as I think Knowles is going to go into the pits now. 5 minutes left to go, and a few people are going to go into the pits now to start their final run. Spark not setting a lap time right now. I think he's just going past one of the tricky corners after the DRS straight, where I think a lot of people can tend to have a bit of understeer, but he's gone purple set 2 in game. I'm not sure if it's a glitch my end or if it's just him actually getting purple set 2. He's looking quite good at the moment. He's running out of fuel though, so I wonder if he's going to go into the pits is that, or if he's actually going to go and actually go in on a lap. So we'll have to wait and see. He's actually going for a lap, so he comes across the line now. It is a 1:25.8, not good enough for pole, but he puts his half car into 14th.
Yeah, and Haas definitely needing a pick-me-up after last week. They were asked at the team's press conference about the struggles they had last week, and of course, this was one of the tiers where neither driver scored points. Farf and Grantaro, otherwise known as Cloudy Balloons, if you're wondering who that is, not scoring any points. So it's good to see one of them in the top 10 at the moment, and Haas could really do with a morale-boosting point score after last week's disaster.
Yeah, some other tiers they've had much better luck in the Haas cars compared to this tier, of course. But it's down to the drivers, of course. Some people may want to be in the Haas because obviously there may be a big step up from last season. Maybe they may be in a lower tier and they don't want to set high expectations yet. But for some people, even though they set high expectations, were pretty happy with their car last season, and they probably want to keep it, regardless if they have been in the same tier or not. Just as Catboy Key did, as he's going into 5th place at the moment. I wonder if we will see the 124s actually as well. I think the only one people to go in the 124s and qualify now is a few people in the Pinnacle tier, and I think most people, everybody apart from Riley, who gets to set a lap time, they've already proved on their qualifying night already. So it's just great to see the amount of practice that they can definitely get there, as well as Catboy Key has gone off. But I guess he just wants to go into the pits very, very quickly. It is the calm before the storm, Jake, and I wonder if a lot of people are going to start on their push-up very, very soon with 3 minutes and 20 seconds left to go.
That's it. You don't want to. I don't think you want to do the perfect lap in the early stages of qualifying, because you'll know in a way that the track's probably only going to get faster. So I think we really are going to see the real key part of qualifying now. And speaking about Catboy Key, that was a nice lap up into 5th place. I was quite surprised actually to hear him say he didn't actually think he had the best race last week, because he still finished 8th firmly in the points. So I don't know, if you feel like your race didn't go too well and you're still in the top 8, I mean, that suggests he's got pretty high expectations of himself. So we'll see how that develops. And Racing Point, with him and Tom Robbo in the same team, if they can pull it together, they could be a real threat in the Constructors.
Yeah, in the podium tier where Catboy Key was last season, he actually won the Constructors with Racing Points, so that's why I'm not really that surprised that he's chosen the colours once again, of course. But I remember in the last season, I was in season 15, Racing Points didn't do quite as well, so it was great to see Racing Points back up there at the top again. And yeah, I think with the way Catboy Key is performing, then he probably is expecting higher expectations, because obviously he's getting a lot better as the game develops. This is the second season on the game for OneHubRacing. This is not the first, so a lot of people were just getting used to it as well. But Bahrain, I believe, wasn't there last season, so you know this is the first time they're actually racing it. But obviously they were racing in it in qualifying night quite a few times. As George is about to start his lap now, got some clear air. Everybody else though is on their final lap. But look at the pitch straight. I think most people are going to make it in for their laps in time, but you know, it's not going to help a lot of people if they've got cars around them. So, you know, they may need to find themselves enough time just to get around the track. Because an out lap is a lot less quicker than a fly lap, I've got to say.
And I wonder if Jules, because he's gone out quite early on, I wonder if he's going to encounter any traffic on his lap, because everyone else is going to be limbering up waiting to do their laps, and he's firmly pushing. So, I don't know, maybe hoping to avoid the usual crush that we see out the pits at the end, but he won't potentially have the most optimum track conditions. It does look like a pretty smooth lap thus far. He's currently already in 4th, so he's got a decent lap time already in the bag, which should take a little bit of a pressure off. But we'll see how he's getting on as he comes up to the end of the second sector now. And actually the traffic hasn't been too bad up to this point. Don't want to put the jinx on it for him, but he's actually, yeah, he's a 10 foot for the middle sector, so if he can keep this going, there's no reason why he could potentially take provisional pole here. It just depends how his final corner goes.
Yeah, Jules was very, very close to getting the win last week, but penalties avoided that, and that's allowed Tom the win on track. But Jules is looking very good with clear air, and he may have time to set one more, and there he goes, provisional pole. Why not a lot actually, 125.055, not quite in the 124 though, but he looks very, very comfortable, and that is his qualifying done as he's moving out of the way of everybody, about to start their final lap. But the cars, Jake, just look very good around Bahrain, doesn't it, under the lights?
Somehow, I don't know what it is, but under the lights, all the cars just look so much better. I think particularly the Mercedes, obviously in that black livery for this season, as Rimpe decides that's it for his qualifying, he's done. The next guy we've got on a lap is Jay Fletcher, who's currently in 2nd place. A few drivers left it so late across the line. I think Nick also did his lap, he's gone up to 9th. But it'd be interesting if he goes for a second hot lap. He probably won't, though, I wouldn't imagine. And wow, this is going to be really close here, because Jay Fletcher is right on the pole time. This is going to be super close.
Yeah, it is, of course. He was the benchmark earlier on, and Jules just beat it. But I think if he gets it... No, he just swerved a bit, and I think that's his qualifying done. I wonder if anyone, actually, is setting purple to actually get close enough to pole position. Chris, who's in 4th for the moment, he's purple in sector 1. I didn't see what his sector 2 split was. 104.1, he didn't get purple in sector 2. The purple sector 2 at the moment is Jay Fletcher, and he got purple sector 3 as well. So Chris is looking good to possibly potentially get provisional pole position. There's quite a few other people on the lap. We've got a McLaren, we've got a Renault as well coming across the line. What about Chris? What can he do? Can he get pole? No, improved by position by only 5/100 into 5th position, and Jules obviously is slowing down, seeing if anyone else on the lap. Catboy Key, could he be? Oh, as he hits the wall, and he's 1/10 down. I think the only person who goes quicker is F1 File, but he's not purple in any set.
Backed off, I think. So.
No.
I think that's it, and yeah, well done to Jules right at the end there, but. Jay Fletcher might have been, he could have got a second pole in a row there, but that final corner just did it for him, and he'll be looking to put that right at the start of the race, because if he doesn't have a good start, that might play on his mind a little bit.
Yeah, obviously turn 1 is an absolute nightmare in Bahrain. I found that myself, as I almost had a few incidents myself, but luckily I avoided that. So yeah, they've got to take it cautious because the race is not over in that one, but starting on pole position for Jules is going to give a great confidence boost for him, almost certainly going into the race coming up as well. And there's 29 laps that await these drivers, of course, and the softs don't only last about 9 laps, so they really want to get off those softs as quickly as they can. And we've seen in other tiers as well a mixture of strategies for pretty much all the drivers. So I think we should probably see the same, but I don't think they will be going on many soft stints at this rate, the way the soft tyres are going. But it's Jules on pole. Tom, who was last week's race winner on track, could only manage third, but he started off near there last week and he still managed to get the win. So it is far from over from the Racing Point in third.
Yeah, nice effort from Tom Robbo at the end. I didn't actually quite catch that, but he has moved up to third. We've got Rimpe in fourth, Chris in fifth, Catboy Key in sixth, Rantaro takes seventh, Kian in eighth, Hindle and Vahanen complete the top 10. And then outside the top 10, we've got Nick in 11th, Nolsey 12th, Scorpion in 13th, Kajman in 14th, Jonas in 15th, Farf 16th, Schnitzel 17th, Okeke 18th, and then Riley Buys, who actually took the fastest lap outside the top 10 at Austria, but he's got a hard road ahead starting right from the back.
Yeah, definitely. Starting last around here is not really good as well, but you could possibly try and avoid the carnage into turn one, which Riley started last before, and his results have usually been good. Usually, I think I remember in Belgium in season 15 when I was racing with him, he started near the back, he went on to win the race, so you know, it could happen here. But I think before we start the stream, I'd like to say a quick mention of our sponsor. Obviously we mentioned Next Level Racing earlier on, but we've also got Liam Run Free, which we mentioned earlier on as well, but we have one other new sponsor as well, Vespertine, I think that's how you say it. They are providing some funding towards our prizes this season, our trophies, and lots of other prizes, our vouchers too as well. And they do some great content on their Twitter and website as well. I need to actually check what their Twitter is. I should know because I put it on the guidelines for the commentator. I think it's Vespertine brand. I'm not entirely sure, but I will have to double check on that. But check them out. A very good sponsor for us at OneHubRacing, and glad they're sponsoring us for this season as well. And I'm glad that Leon is sponsoring us for a second season, and I'm glad Next Level Racing is continuing to sponsoring us for a long time now, but giving the stand to the Go and Get Tough Awards winners, as we're just waiting for the lobby host to ready up, and then we can get started. Looks like everyone's being very good at the moment. They're following the rules.
Yeah, no one jumping the gun this week, which is nice to see. Hopefully that doesn't change, but yeah, we should be pretty close to lights out here. And of course, with it being Bahrain, one factor you usually don't have to take into consideration is the weather. Like I said, it's not really a sort of track where you tend to see rain that often, so you know, it's going to be all about strategy now, and racecraft, I think, as well, is going to play a big part in this, because this is a track where you can overtake. This is a track where you can make moves and gain positions. So, you know, qualifying, as important as it is, it won't decide the outcome of the race, and it's all going to be about what these drivers can do over the next 29 laps.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm just looking at the set times from qualifying. So the person who actually qualified on pole didn't actually set any purple sets at all. It was Chris that set fastest first sector, Jay Fletcher that set fastest second sector, with Tom Robbo setting fastest in the middle sector. So it looked like Jules got his lap together more than everybody else. I think it's probably showing, like George Russell said, consistency is key. But looking at the drivers outside the top 10, I'm seeing medium, soft. So everyone's gone for the mediums except Riley Buys in last place at the moment. And dying on the softs in outside the top 10, as I found out in the prospect here earlier, is not the best tyre to be on. So Riley taking a bit of gamble. He's going to be fast at the start of the race, but everybody else is going to have a huge advantage outside the top 10, being on the alternate strategy, of course, because they could go on soft right until the end of the Grand Prix, whereas Riley doesn't have that much option at all. But yeah, I'm quite shocked that less people gone for the hards. But yeah, I think we're probably going to see either soft, medium. For the people outside the top 10, they're probably going to go medium, soft, or medium, hard, soft. It just depends on how long they can stretch those mediums and softs at the start of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, absolutely. And any safety cars could potentially change the face of the race. Riley obviously mentioned how good he is sometimes at getting his good results from the back of a field, so maybe starting on softs he knows something but we don't. We'll have to wait and see. This is possibly the biggest Williams sandwich I've seen on the grid in a long time. Got a Williams at the front and a Williams at the back, so it's going to be interesting. But I think for those just outside the top 10 on mediums, it's not a bad place to start here. So the likes of Nick, Nolsey and Scorpion, who actually got a podium last week, interesting to see what they can do, because like I said, the softs are going to go off pretty quickly here, and the medium tyre runners could really make some ground up in these early laps.
Yeah, well, I think so as well. I think Nick and Nolsey are probably the best positioned out of the medium runners, and if any of the soft runners have a little bit of issues, then the ones outside the top 10 could pick up the pieces, as it were. So yeah, usually in a one-stop race, the ones outside the top 10, 11, 12, 13, they probably the medium, well, the medium to hard to medium or medium soft will probably be the fastest. Obviously, medium to soft, you can't do it in a way, as well as all the drivers now are having their AI controlled as they go into their grid spot, as Nick and Nolsey has got disqualified there. So I wonder if they both collided with each other in a formation lap, or it might just been set, for instance. I'm not entirely sure, but luckily it's just formation lap and not the race. So don't panic, guys.
Yeah, come on, Nick, we expect better. But no, we should be moments away from lights out here. And it's all going to be about the start here as Jules and Jay Fletcher have the open road ahead of them down to turn 1. It's going to be interesting how this start unfolds. So just waiting for the lights to illuminate in front of the drivers now. And when they go out, let battle commence here in Bahrain. It looks like a fairly even start between the top 2. Maybe Jay Fletcher got a slight edge, but no, Jules comes across and covers him well. If anything, Jay Fletcher's under threat from Tom Robbo around the outside into turn 1. Is he going to be able to make the move stick for P2? I think he is, but he has a massive oversteer moment on the exit, and in fact that allows Jay Fletcher to pull back alongside. And it gives Jules a perfect slingshot. He's already comfortably out in front as the other Racing Point of Catboy Key looks at making a move as well. So this worked out beautifully for Racing Point. Tom Robbo up to second, and is Catboy Key going to be able to hang on to third? Yes, he is. So great start for the Racing Point duo, and it looks like maybe that's Rantaro at the back who's ran into some problems.
Yeah, but I've seen the start of the race from the back of the field, and to be honest, everyone managed to get through pretty clearly, I've got to say. Apart from the incident in turn 5 where Rantaro actually got involved in an incident, I'm not entirely sure where, but yeah, I've been watching a few of these drivers. The one who had a very good start was Scorpion. He was in 12th, 13th, and he's all the way up into 8th place now. He's doing very well on those mediums. Nick made up 1 place into 10th place. We've got Riley Byers, who's also had a good start. Don't forget he's on the softs. He's got past Jonas there, and he's up into P13. But I wonder how long those softs are going to last if he's pushing for the majority of the lap. We've also got Nolsey and having a battle as well, and then everyone far around as well into last place. These have trifles not having the start of the race they would have wanted.
Oh, Gunter Steiner, if the Netflix crews are there, Gunter Steiner is going to be seething right about now. It's not what Haas needed at all, but there is still a long way to go, so we'll see if they can recover from that. But it was the ideal start really for Jules out front, but the Racing Point duo in a really strong position right now, as it's Okeke who has to go into the pits as well, so it looks like he may have picked up some damage on that opening lap, but at least for Rantaro it looks like he's avoided damage because he's still out there.
Thank goodness, at least he can carry on and try and catch up to the drivers ahead. So the Schnitzel being his nearest rival as well. Farf going, I believe, onto a different set of tyres. I wonder what tyres it's going to be. But yeah, Jules is having a dream start to his race. He'll be 8/10 of a second behind Tom as well. And I've got to say, it's looking good for the Racing Point drivers in the constructors if they can keep it second and third. Josh didn't have the start that he would have wanted, but I think he's trying to take it easy on the opening few laps and then start to push it as we get to the pit stops. So I probably could see the undercut being very, very powerful here as we get to the latter stages of their first stint, of course. But Scorpion looking good to having another battle against Verheyen in 7th position right now in the Red Bull. Verheyen also having a good start as well, but having a bit of a lock up there going into this corner. But yeah, Scorpion must be loving life right now in the Ferrari.
Yeah, exactly the start he would have wanted on those medium compound tyres, and really looking very good at this opening stage of a race, looking to build on last week's result. And I have to say for Jay Fletcher, I mentioned that mistake he made at the end of qualifying that potentially cost him pole position. I think he'll be regretting that even more now he's stuck behind Catboy Key in 3rd place. And I have to say that the top 2 are starting to get away here. I don't know if it's like team play or just maybe Catboy Key struggling for pace, but he is dropping off the back of his teammate quite quickly.
Yeah, he is, and that's not very, very good, of course, at the moment. So he's probably finding a little more heat in his tyres, and it's probably heating with the rears, I've got to say, and that's allowing Jay Fletcher to come back. We do have a yellow flag, and that is for, I think, Lee Jonas has gone off into turn 1 there, so he's a lost position as well, which is a shame for him, but at least he can keep going onto those medium tyres into this race as well. The trains are breaking up a little bit, but you can see a very interesting train from, I think, I would say 6 downwards all the way up into P13. This is going to get very, very spicy if this carries on, Jay.
Definitely. You can see already, just seems to be groups developing all the way through the field, and Tom Robbo also starting to come back at Jules here for the lead of a race, and these two can afford to fight it out because Catboy Key, third behind, is sort of holding a few cars up behind him, it would seem, at this stage of the race, and really, this is a crucial part of the race with Scorpion. It'll be interesting to see how he approaches this because he's on the medium tyres, and in the next few laps especially, I imagine he's going to have a bit more pace than those around him. So, I don't know, I think we could see him make some more progress, but on those medium tyres, will he want to take too many risks at this stage? Because there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, of course, we're seeing a battle with another medium tyre runner of Nick and Riley. Riley on those soft tyres, getting past him quite comfortably up into P10 of this race. Catboy Key actually going side by side with Jules as well. Actually, no, it's Jules and Tom. I'm losing track of who's having a battle here. But Jay Fletcher gets past Catboy Key and up into first place. Chris also wants to join in the battle as well. Who's saying you can't overtake in this corner? Jay Fletcher just about holds on there. They're keeping it under control. Huge respect to all three of them. But yeah, Jay Fletcher up into the podium once again. But Catboy Key needs to get a move on because you can see Chris in his mirrors and he is gaining by the second. This is the heavy braking turn that we've been talking about for the whole race now. DRS is now activated. Chris looking very good. Catboy Key though not looking so good. Let's see what Chris could do as he heads towards the end of the DRS straight. Nope, he backs off.
Yeah, and I have to say, contrasting emotions at Racing Point there as Tom Robbo took the lead. It was Catboy Key losing third place, and I just can't help feeling as I think that's Riley Buys who made such a good start on both soft tyres. He's dropped down, it looks like he's spun. Oh, and that's a disaster. All that hard work he did at the start has been undone in that one moment. I don't know if it was contact with any of the drivers. I only saw the aftermath of it, unfortunately. But yeah, that's a real shame for him because his race was actually shaping up very nicely up to that point.
Yeah, round number 2 between Chris and Catboy Key, I've got to say. I mean, Catboy Key's pulling away with the straight line speed heading towards turn 1, and Jules and Tomo looking a good battle as well. So your order so far is Tom leads and Jules in second, Fletcher third, Catboy Key in fourth place. But it looks like Catboy Key was saving his tyres, was able to pull away from the Ferrari in 5th position as well. But you know, Jay Fletcher is hungry for more and wants to defend very, very nicely. He's starting to gain a bit on Catboy Key behind as well. Bahrain's dropped a bit down into 8th position, but he's still trying to get back Scorpion up into the 7th position.
It's working beautifully, I have to say, for Scorpion so far. Just making their way nicely through the pack, and on those medium tyres, it's going to be really interesting how they get on. And they're still closing down Rimpe ahead of them, who in turn is Chris, I believe, is starting to have a go at Catboy Key for 4th place. They're going side by side. Oh, very nearly touching wheels, but they give each other just enough room, and they're going to continue to go side by side. This is not a corner I would really want to be going side by side. We're driving from, and that's the reason why, because they've come together, and Quace is in the wall, and he's out the race as well. Wow, that's a real shame. He actually finished 2nd here the last time we raced in Precision Tier here at Bahrain, but definitely not the same kind of emotions this time out, and it's just one of those where it's a really tricky corner to go side by side from, and just a littlest bit of contact sent Chris flying off the track and unfortunately out of a race.
Yeah, that is a bit of a shame, of course. His hard work's undone, and Ferrari's scorers have turned into another Ferrari's fortunes as Scorpion, who started on the mediums, is all the way up into 4th position.
Yeah, and we've got Jules in the pits, so the race leader, I think of 2nd actually, has decided to make an early pit stop. Maybe he's anticipating a safety car, I'm not too sure, but either way he's made a stop and he's out in clear air, and that should protect him. I don't think he might jump Tom Robbo here with that undercut, so it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. But yeah, I don't know there if if Catboy Key got any damage from that. It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah.
I mean, he's pitted, so that would suggest perhaps he did have some damage.
I will check Taz for you, because I can actually see what damage he's got. He has. According to Taz, it doesn't say that he has damage, but it's probably taking a while for Taz to update. But yeah, I think Catboy Key just got away with that, because no damage for Catboy Key or Taz. So yeah.
That's good to hear then. Just obviously decided, I mean, after that spin, it wouldn't surprise me if those soft tyres were finished. So just wanted to get rid of them and put on some mediums. I think that's Kian coming into the pits, as is Jay Fletcher. So Tom Robbo staying out just a little bit longer, as Scorpion now looks at the back of Rimpe for what is provisionally at least second place. And Kajman, that's a real shame for him, a pit lane speeding penalty. It's just one of those penalties that it looks kind of silly, but you see them a lot.
Yeah, you do see them a lot, unfortunately, as well. I almost got caught out last week in the Austrian Grand Prix race, and it definitely just loses so much time, and obviously you can't get that removed in the race. So, you know, that's probably gonna hinder your strategy, and you probably have to pit again and probably get it served, and you can't get it removed. Unfortunately, the stewards have made it very, very clear that you only can get it removed if you do not serve that penalty.
Yeah, and all Ferrari's hopes now are with Scorpion after that unfortunate retirement for Chris. So what can he do? He is still right behind the AlphaTauri of Rimpe, and I'll be very shocked if we don't see Tom in the pits at the end of this lap, because I don't know, maybe he's wanting to stay a bit longer, probably accepts that Jules will come out in front of him now, as Jules himself is actually making a move past Jonas. Obviously Jonas is yet to pit, so Jules making his way through the field nicely. And a great thing for him now is that now he's cleared Jonas, he's actually got a lot of clear air in front of him, so he can now really start to get the hammer down.
That's more like it from Jules, and his rival Tom is in the pits, and so is Rimpe as well. So that is Scorpion that takes the lead of the race. The medium tyres, I think most people pit around about lap 10 to 12 is the pit window. So that is when we can see the likes of Scorpion, Nick, Schnitzel and Jonas pitting for their next set of the medium tyres as well. So I wonder where Tom's going to come out ahead of Jules. Actually, Jules is way ahead of Tom Robbo at this point. So, you know, Jules' undercut strategy worked absolutely perfect.
Yeah, absolutely there. That was really good and important, really, as Tom looks to gain the position on Jonas, which he does straight away, and that's vital for him. He really didn't want to be held up for any longer than possible. But the crucial thing for Tom is he is out in front of Jay Fletcher, so not too bad from that sense of things. And it's just going to be interesting now to see how the medium tyre runners stack up when they make their stops, because the potential for them is that they can run the soft tyres later on in the race and potentially have a pace advantage there. So, you know, for them now it's just a case of getting the hammer down and seeing where it plays out later on.
And it can go for potential fastest lap as well, which is an extra point if you're if there's a well, basically there's two advantages. If you're inside of the top 10 and get fastest lap, you get a point. If you're get the fastest lap outside the top 10, you also get a point as well, and it can really help you, especially if you're outside the top 12, because you will get a point anyway. So it also encourages you to not give up, so you also have something else to fight for. That's how I got my point in OneHub. Meanwhile, Riley's having a bit of a comeback with Bath, as Riley goes for a move there, and he's up into 17th position as well. And interestingly enough, Nick's got up to the back of Nolsey there as well. So Nolsey struggling to catch up to Scorpion, and he's going to try and defend on Nick at the moment. Meanwhile, Jay Fletcher is getting past some traffic there, which is what he needed up into the 7th position. And I think it's important to think about other people's strategies in terms of the race. You don't want to get held up if you are on a different strategy and you're slower than the ones that just hit. As we're seeing Rimpe and Eva Bahrain having a nice battle there as well, and I mean Bahrain actually got past Rimpe up into 9th. So Bahrain's actually on the comeback at the moment at this stage, and Jonas not doing quite so well. Bahrain's doing a lot better than his teammate as well, and he's going to try and climb up his way up there. And I think since his position here debut last season, he has been doing that bad at the moment. Some people have been expecting higher expectations this season, but to be honest, he's been setting lower expectations. Now, helping him as a little bit of a slide there, heading into the heavy braking zone, but he just caught the car there, thank goodness.
And I think, I could be wrong, but I think the struggles of Haas have just continued there, because I think Favre has had a moment off the track. So, yeah, continuing struggle, Haas, and not what they need. But, yeah, the good move from Bahrain there, and his problem for him now is he might come under attack from Rimpe once again, although Kian is one to look out for just behind this pair. So, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out down the straights, but Verhaeden perhaps would have been hoping to get a little bit more ground between himself and the AlphaTauri behind, but that's not to be. So we'll see if Rimpe can potentially fight back, and yes he can, so he's going to comfortably make the move into turn one. The DRS and Slipstream super powerful there, and nothing really Verhaeden could do to defend that, so the hard work he did in the last lap undone, and he's going to have to pass that AlphaTauri all over again.
Is actually, would you, when you go into turn one, would you want to be overtaken, or would you want overtaking the car? Because turn 4 is a heavy overtaking zone, I've got to say, on this track, and sometimes if you have the pace, maybe turn 4 would be the best option. We don't know, but it depends on the ability, of course, of the drivers. But it looked like Verhaeden just wasn't looking too comfortable in Rimpe, and that's why the move he has done there right now. Not much moves happening at this moment in time, but it will change when the medium runners make their first pit stops. Don't forget, a mandatory 2 stop is required at OneHub. If they don't make 2 stops, they will get disqualified from the race, and they won't be getting any points. So luckily no one has filed victim of that this season in any tier yet, so yeah, just hope this tier is not the first.
No, definitely not. It's not what you want, especially if you finish the race, you think, oh, I've had a really good race there, and then it dawns on you what's happened as Nick makes a move on Nosey down the inside into turn 1. I was just about to say, actually, that I thought these two were sort of minding their own business, helping each other along, but that seems that's not the case at all. And Nick makes a nice move there. Can Nosey come back at him into turn 4? No, he cannot. So Nick makes a move for P2, and I have to say, for someone who has been out of the racing game for a little while, he's not showing any signs of rustiness in his early races.
And don't forget, he actually set a very good lap in qualifying night, and he was very, very happy with it as well. And he probably was not expecting to be in the position here, but he's doing well. He's won, he's done quite well. Obviously successful in OneHubRacing's past as well, and it is hard to get used to a game when you haven't been racing for a long time, but you know, he's had more motivation to practice now due to COVID and everything. Some of the non-essential businesses have been shut down or reduced to takeaway only. So I think Nick is definitely liking his setup at the moment, and he's recently just moved house as well. So he must be getting more comfortable with where he's placed his rig in his house as well, and that's probably gaining him. And he's in second at the moment, not second in the race. And net P2 at the moment is Tom Robbo. In P2, a comfortable P2 at the moment, because he doesn't have any readying up penalties, which he was quite relieved about in the chat. And as expected, Nick goes into the pits for the undercut strategy on the medium runners, and that was what I was expecting most people to do, actually, for the medium. So Nick jumping the guns there, and he's going to the mediums again. So he's doing medium soft by the looks of it, Jake.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, and I think it's a very wise move there to do the undercuts. It made the move stick on Knowlesy, and then made the undercut to almost protect him against Knowlesy coming back at him. So that's a wise move there from Nick, and it's gonna. I think he could be one to look out for in the latter stages. The good bit of news for Jules in particular was that Schnitzel, who was just in front of him, pitted, so that removes a bit of an obstacle there, because the last thing he would have wanted was to get caught behind Schnitzel, especially with Tom Robbo only a second behind him now. So he really just needs to get on with this, and he probably really wants to make sure that he doesn't let Tom within his DRS, because once you let a driver within your DRS, I find it's very difficult to get him back out of that window again.
Yeah, exactly, and DRS trains, when a lot of drivers are in that train, it's really, really hard to get out of it and try and overtake. So you ideally got to be chasing a car with not DRS, but just look at that train from Rimpe for Verhaeden. We've got a racing point now as well, the Renault Kian. I've just got to say, Kian is doing a really good job on those medium tyres at the moment, up into 8th position. Well, to be honest, I'm just looking at the standings for Kia, and he got no points last week, and already he's chasing up for his first points of the season. So it's a great comeback story for him. Most drivers want to do a lot better than what they did last week in Austria, and especially since we've got the Christmas break coming up as well, it's very important that the first two races, if you're comfortable with those tracks and you like those tracks, and you have a good race in both of them, because otherwise momentum is not going to carry well into the new year when they race again in just under a few weeks' time.
Definitely, and I think from my perspective as well, like if you have 2 weeks to ponder over a couple of disappointing races, it only makes it worse. When you have bad races, you really just want to get out there and put it right. So having those 2 weeks to sort of think about it, well, I don't think will do you any good if you've had some bad races. So one thing I'm a little bit surprised at, I don't know if you'd agree with me on this, but I'm a bit surprised that neither Scorpion or Nosey pitted on that lap. I thought at least one of them would have responded to Nick.
Yeah, I'm a bit shocked as well. I'm guessing that they want to stretch those mediums as far as they possibly can, because the mediums can last about, ideally the pit window, 10 to 12 laps, but the soft only lasts 9 laps. So I'm guessing they want to have some good stints to make sure that they can definitely take the soft to the end on their third stint, because otherwise it's going to be really, really hard if they are expecting a safety car. But yeah, Nick's just going to gain so much time on his flyer lap that probably the undercut could be more powerful than anything. Scorpion, I think, will probably get away with it, so he could do what he likes, but Nosey, though, he has to go in, and he does. So both drivers goes into that, promotes Jules into the race lead at this moment in time. He will stay there as the race develops. He's on 2 older tyres compared to his rival Tom, who's catching him like a horse at the moment. He's prancing at the moment, and it's great to see from Tom that he's keeping up his consistency. If he keeps up his consistency, he could be leading the championship. Here comes Tom, though. He's been looking very, very good under DRS, but Jules covers him off there into turn 4. Nicely defended from Tom, but can Tom get the switchback that he needs? Who said you can't overtake either? Try at least, but no. Tom holds on, but Jules, absolutely incredible defending there.
Yeah, nicely done there from Tom, catching up Jules really quickly, and Jules just positioned his car in such a way that Tom didn't really have anywhere to go. And wow, I tell you something, I've just noticed this coming out of the pits. We said, as mentioned, Scorpion should be okay against Nick. He is, but not by much.
And he's on the softs.
Wow, so well, that could be. I wonder if he stayed out those extra few laps to maybe do 2 soft tyre stints. That could be his thinking there. So very aggressive from Scorpion, and we'll see if it pays off. He's about to pass Rantara around the outside. That's a really lovely move, and up into 8th place. And yeah, super aggressive from Scorpion. I've got to admit, I rate that strategy call. He built up the margin so that he could afford to stay out a few extra laps, and now he can go ultra aggressive to the end. And I tell you what, looking at where he is now, maybe top 3 or top 4 is not out of the question.
I've got to say, I was contemplating choosing that strategy myself, as we got Tom and Jules having a nice battle there, and Tom takes the lead of the Grand Prix, but for how much longer is Jules looking very, very comfortable with the DRS. He's not using his overtake though, so it looks like Tom is going to hang on to the lead for the time being. But look at Jules, he's on the fight. No, he stays behind for now. It looks like he's going to go for the move there. Tom almost making a mistake there, but yeah, it looks like it's going to be a ding-dong battle between these two, and with Tom being on the fresher side, this could help him in the long run.
Yeah, Tom just really looking really confident right now, as we've got a yellow flag, and I think is that far in sector 3?
That's a half. That is a half driver, so that is F-Path, yeah.
Yeah, he's just things not going his way tonight. He might be quite happy to put these races behind him and look forward to see how it goes after the Christmas break. But yeah, not the season he would have hoped for so far. But yeah, Tom looking super comfortable at this stage, I have to say, and just making that slightly later first pit stop could really prove to be all the difference here. And he just looks quicker than Jules right now, as Farf actually retires in the pit lane, so he decided enough is enough on that one. And yeah, thankfully he's retired in the pit lane, so there shouldn't be any safety car or anything like that. But yeah, right now it's looking like a 2-horse race for the victory, but you never know, Scorpion could be a little bit of a threat later on, depending what his pace is like on those soft tyres. Although, having said that, I've just noticed that he is in one heap of a DRS train.
Yeah, He is definitely in as well. Montaro's drops position as well, and he goes into the pits then. So I'm guessing, I wonder what time Montaro's going to go on, that's for sure. But yeah, I'm liking this DRS train as well, mainly because it's the most overtaken. It's hard to stay out of it if you're in one, I've got to say as well. But Casualman trying to make up for lost time past Riley on similar tyres as well. And it looks like Riley's they're not giving that much space. They're banging wheels just a little bit there as they head towards turn 4. Cashman does not have much ERS at all, whereas Riley has more, so he's going to be allowed to have more traction into the corner. And because of that was close from Riley and Cashman. Keep it clean, boys. But Riley just takes it, but I think the ERS helps him more than Cashman there.
I have to say, I love that. Yeah, sure, they're currently not fighting for points, but fighting for 13th place as if it was a win. That's what you like to see. I think as a racing driver, it doesn't matter what position you're battling for. You want to give it absolutely everything. And it's good to see both of those two doing just that. So, yeah, nice stuff there. And Riley getting the position there. It was nicely worked out on the exit of turn 4, going for that undercut. And who knows, there could be a few points available to these guys at the end of a race. And they probably know that battles like this could be the determining factor come the end.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the end of this race. I think it's going to get very, very spicy, and it's going to get even more spicy with Scorpion now, as he possibly gets past Catboy Q on softer tyres as well. But he's got to think what tyres he's going to go on at the end of the race. Nosey actually gets past Nick there for 9th place, also on the soft tyres, on a similar strategy to Scorpion then too. So I wonder if Nosey and Scorpion are playing the long game, whereas Nick was playing the safe game. But Nosey and trying not to give Nick any slipstream at all there. But yeah, I'm still getting quite shocked that Schnitzel's also on the soft as well. But yeah, maybe they're proving this wrong. Maybe they can do medium soft. I was complaining of doing that myself, but because of tyre life, I decided not to, because I didn't want to push towards. I wanted to push towards the end. So it looks like Nick almost had enough there into the braking zone there. Schnitzel's looking very, very good. Potentially get P10 off of Nick, but don't forget the top 12 get points, so he won't be out of the points just yet. And I'm still shocked by this, Jay. Only one driver has got a penalty, and that's Cashman.
Yeah, it's a little bit surprising. This is a track where you usually do tend to see a few penalties handed out. So, I've got to say, fair play to drivers. The Scorpion gets a great exit coming out of, I can't remember what corner name that is, but yeah, up to the final corner, and he made the move before he even got there. So, nicely done from Scorpion, up to what is 6th place, although it will become 5th because Jules has opted for an early pit stop. Obviously, he pitted earlier first time around. So, he's going to go on to another set of mediums, I would imagine. I think he has. Just trying to find him quickly. So, that's going to be interesting, because I wonder if Tom Robbo is opting to stay out and maybe take on a set of softs.
I wonder, if you were to pick for the soft tyres, because my teammate Liam actually did it in the prospects here, you would have to take it all the way up to lap 21. If you can't take your mediums to lap 21, then you can absolutely do it. And I think it can last, if he can save his tyres, he can just about do it. I'm not entirely sure, but if he does do it and does it well, then this could be a really good miracle for him. But don't forget, the undercut is powerful around here. You can see Scorpion on those soft tyres showing what he's made of, and he's got past Rimpe, and already Scorpion is up into 3rd place. And you know, don't forget, Scorpion will need to pit again, of course, for those another set of tyres, and I think he's probably going to go for another set of the soft tyres, I can tell you that. And maybe he wants to go on a similar strategy to the other drivers and pit exactly at the same time. What would you do if you were in that situation?
I think, really, I mean, right now he's looking super quick, so pace isn't a problem. So maybe, for me, I would say best bet, really, probably to stay out until... I would maybe go for a slightly later pit stop, if anything. Try and stay out just a little bit longer. And maybe just go for a short run at the end, maybe 5 or 6 laps on another set of softs at the end, because he can clearly overtake. That's not an issue. So maybe just holding out a bit longer on this stint, giving him fresher softs at the end, might be the way to go, because having those fresher softs right at the end, A, gives you a better chance of a fastest lap, and B, it makes you a super threat late on, where perhaps some people around you have got some quite old tyres on.
Yeah, and tyres can make well, points can make all the difference come the end of the season, and sometimes only a difference of 2 points may make the difference between winning and losing a championship. So yeah, getting the fastest lap could be key for some of these drivers.
No doubt about it, and I think what's really impressed me about Scorpion so far is just maybe that they haven't had the most amount of pace in qualifying, but really they're thinking a lot about race strategy and really making it work to their advantage. So that's really impressive quality to have, and you know, pace is something I think you can learn and develop, but having that racecraft and the ability to think on your feet during races, I think a lot of it has to come naturally. So to have that in your pocket already is a massive plus for Scorpion, and already makes me think they're going to be a key contender going forwards.
Yeah, almost certainly as well, but will those softs be able to last the temperature it needs? Because I even found it hard towards the end of Grand Prix getting my softs to not overheat as much, so Scorpion's going to find it tough. I think Scorpion and Nosey are going to hope for a safety car. That would work wonders for them. They could go on the softs to the end, and they're not going to lose any time at all. And I'm just actually seeing who is actually on close enough to getting a warning, because I think there's quite a few people on close to penalty. So Jay Fletcher is on one warning. We've got Kian on 2 warnings. Verheyen, Catboy Q, Jonas, Schnitzel, Cloudy, and Riley's on 1 warning. 2 warnings, sorry. KK's on 1. And we've got Tom Robbo, Scorpion, Impey, Nosey, Nick, Jules, and Hindle, and Kian on 0 warnings, completely clean. I don't know how they're doing it, but I found it hard to keep it clean in Bahrain, so they must be doing something right.
Yeah, I could probably need them to teach me how to drive a little bit on that one, because that is that's pretty sensational going. I can see Tom Robbo using a bit of overtake just as he comes around to the final corner, so I wonder if he's pushing because he's about to make a pit stop. Well, he really pushed out the exit the final corner. Now he's still carrying on for another lap, and he's using a lot of overtake, so I wonder if, well, he wants to push now on the slightly older mediums and then have a good run of it on the softs, as Jay Fletcher gets what could be a critical pit lane speeding penalty. He was running in 3rd place, but I reckon that penalty makes him extremely vulnerable, especially to like Scorpion and Nosey. So that's a bitter blow for him. And he's been so good in qualifying, but the race results haven't quite lived up to the billing so far. So yeah, just a few little mistakes like that are costing him right now.
Yeah, it is, and 5-second penalties you definitely don't want to get, especially when you're chasing for the wins. That could cost you dear if you're on a DRS train. So Jay Fletcher must need to have the drive of his life if he wants a chance to scoring some good results and keep his consistent form up, because the constructors is also on the line. They get prizes for that too. It's not just about the drivers, it's about the constructors too. So, you know, Jay Fletcher may be laying his side down if he does that, but you can't get rid of speeding in the pit lane penalty, sadly. So that is a shame, unfortunately, as well. So we're on lap 21. Scorpion and Nosey staying out, and Tom are staying out. So looks like those 3 are going to go on a set of softs. Tom is his first, well, his next set of softs. Scorpion and Nosey's on their next set of softs as well. So yeah, they are going to try and push it here, and I think they will make it if they get to that. But fair play to Tom for doing it. But you can see Jules, I'm just seeing gaps to lead her at the moment, 18.3 seconds, and I'm sure the pit lane loss is a little bit more than that. So Jules is going to be in a very good position coming the end of this race. But Tom goes in, so does Scorpion and Nosey. Nick goes in too. Well, he did have to respond to that, otherwise he would have lost out quite a bit. And here he comes there into the pit lane, onto the soft tyres as well. This is going to be some interesting battle in terms of how fast is that. But yeah, look at that gap between Jules and Tom. 4.1 seconds, and all that took was for Jules to hit just a little bit earlier, but Tom's going to be incredibly faster come the end of the race.
And critically for Tom, he's rejoined in front of Jay Fletcher. He's just 1.8 seconds in front of him, so that was absolutely critical. Couldn't have afforded to lose a position there. So yeah, he can now try and get the hammer down and close back in on Jules. He's obviously gone with the soft tyres, and it's going to be interesting how that pays out. But looking at it, Scorpion's rejoined in P6. He's got 2 medium tyre runners in front of him. I have to say, Scorpion's looking in a strong place at the moment. I mentioned maybe 3rd or 4th place for the end come for him. And I've got to say, 4th place probably looking quite likely, but who knows with Jay Fletcher's penalty as well, how that one will play out. So, yeah, Scorpions, disappointing qualifying down in 13th, but they've run a really good race so far. Although he's got to watch out because he's also got Rimpe behind him, who's also on soft. So, those on medium tyres now are going to be really vulnerable at the end.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried about that as well. And usually the ultimate strategy, if you end on the softs, they work perfectly, but the danger of the DRS train is just going to cost you just so much time. So I don't know what I would do at this moment in time with Kian. It's going to be vulnerable. Bahrain's going to be vulnerable. So yeah, I think Scorpion's in a very good position to get a podium. They just can't afford to get any warnings or any penalties. Quite a lot of people on 0, but a lot of people on the cusp of getting their final one before they get a penalty. Kian trying to play the slipstream of Bahrain, and then as they both go side by side, maybe Scorpion want to stay back a little bit because he doesn't want to get involved in any damage, as well as Hindle setting the fast up for Grand Prix 1:27.9. That could become crucial towards the end of the race. But here comes Scorpion on Bahrain, and as they go towards turn 4, Bahrain almost look for a move past Keon as well, but since they're all in that DRS train, that's what stops Scorpion from getting past, I think.
I have to say, I'm just looking at the gaps between Tom Robbo closing on Jules, but also pulling away from Jay Fletcher, and based off that, Tom is absolutely charging. He's already got the gap down to 1.2 seconds. I expect here that the fastest lap could be about to get absolutely smashed.
I think it will, and I think this is redemption time for Tom. He missed the win out last week due to the readying up penalty, and he wants to get the win that he's truly earned at this moment in time. Look at that, purple sector 2. He is on a charge right now, but he's in danger of actually losing a lot of his ERS if he doesn't get a move on quickly. I think Jules will be at the same position. Jules is actually using more ERS than Tom because he's on less ERS, so Tom could be at a huge advantage. Let's see. Oh, look at that, he's absolutely smashed it. Here comes Tom, he's on for a charge to the leader of the Grand Prix, and I think he's going to take that quite comfortably there. Not much defending from Jules there, but Tom is definitely looking the favourite to win this Grand Prix today.
That's absolutely sensational. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2.
I think it's lapped cars, I think.
Okay, so
KK.
A Scorpion makes, is that a double overtake? I think it is. That's
wow.
a double overtake. I didn't quite catch that, unfortunately. As it continues to go side by side further behind, and that looks like Rimpe is going to get up to 5th place. So the two medium tyre runners of Bahrain and Kian really dropping down here, and they've lost a couple of spots in the space of 2 corners, but he's trying to fight back Bahrain, and he keeps the place ahead of Rimpe. So some good defending in the end, but I don't know how Scorpion did that, but he's found himself up to 4th place, and his target now will be to try and get within 5 seconds of Jay Fletcher. That's going to be a tough ask, though.
It is going to be tough because they're on the same tyres, but Scorpion is on newer tyres, so never say the impossible at OneHubRacing, because anything could happen in Formula 1 as well, and it's not going to be that long before Jules is out on the DRS already, or Berton, but oh my god, Rimpe and Bahrain are going side by side once again. Rimpe overtakes Bahrain once again. I've got to say, the story of the stream has got to say between these two, we can see a very good rivalry between the AlphaTauri and the Red Bull, I've got to say. It's always around Bahrain that the Red Bull drive and AlphaTauri just like to have a ding-dong battle as well. Nosey looking very good down in 7th position on those soft tyres. He can gain positions as well, and not many people are going to take advantage of other people's penalties because only 3 people got them so far.
Yeah, and I wonder if there's a tactical swap as well between the two McLarens with Knowlesy on soft tyres as it tries to come back Verheyden at Rimpe, so those two continuing to fight it out. But Verheyden might have to look behind him here because Knowlesy is quickly approaching as Catboy Key looks to make a move on Kian for P8. He's going to go around the outside to turn 4. They're both on the same tyres. There's a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact between the pair of them, but it's Kian that might just hold it onto that. But yeah, Catboy Key, every time I've watched him in this race, it looks like he's struggling for pace, but this is the first part of the race where I'm actually seeing him on the attack, and it's good to see, maybe finally getting a set of tyres on the car that he likes right at the end.
Yeah, definitely. He's looking very comfortable as well. Rimpe is actually falling away from Verheyden and Knowlesy, and Knowlesy and Verheyden were actually having a battle towards turn 4 and 5 again, and Knowlesy looking very good on those soft tyres, and he goes comfortably ahead of Verheyden. So his next victim is to try and get past Rimpe into 5th place on the same tyres. Knowlesy again looking very, very comfortable, and I think him being lower down, and like he said in the first stream and earlier on in qualifying, it's just really helped him boost his confidence. Maybe being here in position is the confidence that he definitely needs right now.
Yeah, and I have to say, it won't be the first time, it won't be the last time, but I think I called something wrong earlier because I was actually saying Nick did a good thing pitting early, but I can't help feeling that going onto those medium tyres for that second stint actually kind of screwed his race a little bit, because he was right with Scorpion and Nosey, let's not forget, but I think that medium tyre stint's really put him a bit further down the pack, and his job now is going to be to try and get past these medium tyre runners. But if he'd have gone for softs in the second stint, who knows, he could have been right up there fighting in the top 5 as well.
Yeah, a bit of a shame for Nick, but obviously with the 2-soft strategy at OneHub, it could throw a lot of things into proportion and out of proportion, and a chance to go for strategies that people may not have thought, but they got to think on their feet a little bit. In terms of people making stops, everyone has made 2 stops with no disqualification, but Riley, Byes and Jonas have made 3 stops, so that is a bit of a shame there, but this is going to be a fight to the finish then. At the moment, between every one of those guys, Thomas is running away with it right now in the lead, and John is running away with it between himself and Jay Fletcher, but the battle is stood on between Nosey and Rimpey down for 5 and 6 position. Scorpion is not bringing down the gap enough to try and catch up to Jay Fletcher, so I think Jay Fletcher is just about going to hold on to that podium.
Yeah, thankfully, if Jay Fletcher does stay over 5 seconds ahead, penalties won't actually have played too much of a part in this race up to now, which is actually quite good to see. I do prefer it sometimes when you get races that aren't just impacted horribly by penalties, and this looks like it's one of those. So for me, that's a win, and we'll see if Nosey can attack Rimpey, because I have to say he's got a 1 lap fresher tyres, and he just looks a little bit quicker at this stage, and Nosey can smell P5ish right in front of him. I mean, that's probably as far up as he's going to get, because Scorpion's just driven into the distance. He's had a really good race so far. But so yeah, it doesn't look like that penalty for Jay Fletcher is going to impact his result, which I actually think is quite a good thing.
Yeah, too close for comfort there for Jay Fletcher, and I think mainly because he's on those soft tyres at the moment, which and the undercut, of course, so that's helped him quite a bit there as well, because he's on a much warmer tyres compared to everybody else, so he's got a lap older time to actually try and get them up to temperature, which is helping him quite a lot here in terms of Scorpion. But I think Scorpion will still be happy with a 4th place in circumstances, so he started off very, very low, and he's the only sole Ferrari driver after his teammate Chris unfortunately has retired from the Grand Prix early on. But you can still see the battle from 5th is far from over, as everyone down into 10th place can still be on the fight here at the moment, and Nick is still stuck in a battle behind Catboy Key and Kean, and Nick really needs to get past them, because Nick's on fresher tyres and on softer tyres, so this is crunch time for the Mercedes driver.
Yeah, he needs to start really making a move, because those soft tyres won't feel good forever, and he's actually got a pretty nice run out to the final corner, using his overtaking attempt to get past Catboy Key, and it looks like he's going to have a move done into turn 1, as Catboy Key could try to fight back, but no, Nick's made the move stick, and he's up to 9th place. So that was a nice, very important move for his race there, and he's going to try and see now if he can close in on Kian as he tries to gain some positions very late on here. And you can see further down as well, that bid to get the fastest lap point outside the points is very much on. Riley and Rantaro battling away on fresh soft tyres for that. It currently belongs to Riley, but I won't be surprised if that changes.
Hindle's not very far off either. Hindle's on the 127.9, so he's up there. So outside the top 10, inside the top 10 is the one who smashed out the park at the moment is Tom. So he's probably going to get the double whammy, get the win, which is 20 points up OneHub. So obviously there's the point will change this season, and second place I believe is 17 points. So not much of a gap there in that regard. But we're heading towards the final lap. Unless Tom makes a bottle, which I hope he doesn't, he could be on to get his second win, but his actual first proper win, if that makes sense. It was taken away last week, and it will definitely be a win that is well and truly earned.
No doubt about it, and certainly as unbiased as I can be, certainly from a commentator's perspective, it might be a good thing and a blessing, I suppose, that he lost the first win, because certainly I want the championship to be super close. And if Tom had got 2 wins out of 2, he'd be in danger of running away with things a little bit. As Nolsey looks like he's made a move on Rimpe, as we see. That looks like, I think that's Kian and Vahanen. They're going side by side through the first 3 corners. It was very much a last-ditch move from Kian, but he's trying to make it stick here as Vahanen can't do much other than try and defend the outside. Nick has nowhere to go on us. Much better tyres behind him. All he can do is sit and watch and maybe try and take advantage. But it looks like Kian's got 7th place. Vahanen slots in behind, and Nick's going to have to maybe try something a little bit unorthodox if he's going to make up any more places.
And that penalty as well, he could have dropped way down.
Oh,
so,
no.
He's got penalties as well, but he's going to go side by side and try and make up for lost time, I've got to say. But there's just so much battling happening at the midfield that I just can't decide which one to keep on. But Nick has really got to try and keep that momentum. He wants to get the battle on track at least, but he's not going to get it in terms of penalties. But anyway, Tom can celebrate early. He doesn't care. He comes across the line. He takes the 2nd win of the season. He wins his 1st win in OneHub. Definitely this time. He's not going to get any penalties either. Jules comes across the line in 2nd. Scorpion's got to find 7 tenths of a second to get the podium, but he does not. But Jay Fletcher just about keeps his podium. Nolsey, great result for him in 6th. Rimpe in 6th. Kian in 7th. Oh, that was very close towards the line there between Bahrain and Catboy Key and Nick. Nick gets 10th place just like last week. Hindle in 11th, and Schnitzel gets the final point for the top 12. I'm seeing who's got the fastest lap outside the top 10. I think we've still got a battle between Rantaro and Riley for that one.
Yeah, it's currently Rantaro that's got it, but coming up to the line, it's going to be interesting to see if that changes. Obviously, the one thing Rantaro has, he does have slightly fresher soft tyres, so I reckon he might just make that stick. He stays on a 127.4. I'm just going to stick with Riley just in case he can beat it, but it doesn't look like he's going to manage it. No, so it's going to go to Rantaro there. So that'll be a massive sigh of relief for Haas. They do collect something from his opening 2 races. Rantaro there getting that fastest lap point.
I'm glad he didn't give up there, and I'm glad he had something to fight for at least after his horrible start to the race. But yeah, everyone just performed really, really well today. And Drive of the Day in game has been given to Scorpion, and you'll find out our choices in a second. But yeah, there's just so many drivers to choose from, to be honest, as well. Everyone, I would say, has performed well. Tom drove into the distance and performed a really good final stint as well. Jules had a clean race from his perspective as well, which was good to see. Shame he didn't convert his pole to a win, but he had a nice battle with Tom earlier on in the race as well, and Jay Fletcher getting a podium there as well. So it's great to see, and I'll let you, Jake, take you through the classified standings.
Yep, so we've got the 3 drivers celebrating on the podium. I don't think there'll be a disappointed driver among us 3. I think they'll all be very happy with their evening's work. I don't think there's any missed opportunities there either. Very well deserved for all 3 of them. So Tom takes the win. We've got Jules 2nd, Jay Fletcher in 3rd, Scorpion in 4th, Nolsey takes 5th, Rimpe 6th, Kian 7th, Vahanen 8th, Catboy Key in 9th, Nick takes 10th, and then you got the 2 Alfa Romeos of Hindle and Schnitzel completing the points paying positions, with the 2 Renaults in literally the most unlucky spots. Kajman and Okeke 13th and 14th. Cloudy is 15th but does get a point for the fastest lap outside the top 10. Riley 16th, we've got Jonas in 17th, F1 Farf in 18th, and Chris with a really unfortunate DNF. It's a shame really, because it would have been interesting to see what he could have done in that race.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate for him as well. He was very, very unlucky there as well. I think he would have probably got into the top 5 or even a sharper podium if he was got a little bit lucky. But hopefully he could use that 2-week break to basically refresh himself. But I think it's time for us to pick our drivers of the day, and oh, it's going to be a tough one, I've got to say. There's so many drivers I want to pick, but we can only choose one each.
Oh, definitely. There's a lot of contenders. I'm going to say for me, I'm going to actually agree with the game, which is a very rare thing. I'm going to go with Scorpion. And my question to him is just going to be pure and simple. Was the 2 soft tyre stint strategy something that he had planned out before the race? Or was it something that he sort of worked out as the race was developing?
Good question, and you nicked my driver of the day choice because I was going to pick him. So that's going to make it difficult. Knowlesy was looking very, very good. Come back as well, but you know what? I'm going to go for the boring shot. I'm going to go for the race winner. I've got to go for Tom. He deserved it in the end, and my question goes for him. After that disappointment of readying up too early last week, how does it feel to finally get that race victory under your belt for real? So that is my question.
Very good, and yeah, I don't think there's two more deserving drivers than those two. They both did excellent jobs. So yeah, that was a really exciting precision tier race. It's almost a sad thing in a way that we now have a little break as everyone celebrates their Christmas and New Year. And certainly to those watching, I hope you do have an excellent Christmas and New Year. If you do want to join the leagues, be sure to check out OneHubRacing.com. All the information is on there. And also, massive thank you to Jess for stepping in at very short notice this evening.
Actually, a few minutes before the stream, I had notice as well. So a little less prep, but I really enjoyed it and it was definitely worth it. So thank you for letting me join you tonight. Hopefully Sam will be back for the opening race back after Christmas in Hungary on the 8th of January. Yeah,
quite a bit of a wait actually, because obviously next Friday is Christmas Day, and the Friday after that's New Year's Day. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting break, and yeah, I can't wait to be back on the 8th of January, same time, 7:45 PM for the Precision tier. If you do want to check out the Pinnacle tier race, that should still be going on as well right now on the OneHubRacing YouTube channel. I would very much recommend checking that out. But from Jess and myself, that's all from us tonight, and we'll see you in a few weeks' time for the Hungarian Grand Prix, the third round of the Precision tier. Until then, I'll catch you all on the flip side.